Hi everyone! So it's going to be part 2 of us getting all the harvesting done. We're starting back in the pepper bed with the spicy peppers. Part 1 was kind of cut short a little bit. We had a lawn mowing company come in and do the lawns. Figure out where to set this up. Alright. So, we're going to go on with the Scotch bonnets. Look how many Scotch bonnets I have in here. Now, a lot of them aren't ripe, but as you can see, I got 3 ripe ones down here we're going to be picking. And we just used one of these Scotch bonnets for fajitas the other night, which actually turned out really good. They got heat, but they're like a smoky and fruity flavor. They were delicious. Actually, they worked out perfectly. Couple more. And then up here, look how tall my poblano's gotten. So we got another big one up here we're gonna cut off. A lot of people can't figure out what to do with so many peppers, but we find recipes, we make it work. And back here we got our Sugar Rush Peach. Now these Sugar Rush Peaches are my absolute favorite peppers I've ever grown. They have such a unique color, such a unique flavor. These will probably be a yearly for me. After this year and trying them this year, I'm definitely going to be getting a lot more in the following years. Now let me move you down here. So now we're working on this one. We're getting some jigsaw peppers off of here. Now, jigsaws are unique. They got purple and they got red when they're ripe. And these are very spicy little guys. I was tempted, because I got so many of these little ones this year, I'm not going to be doing that again next year. I'm going to stick to one little one. But I got so many this year, I was thinking about possibly doing a hot sauce with them. But I will see. I typically, honestly, just don't have time for the fermentation process of the hot ones. Another poblano up there. And then we're going to move on over here to these ones. These are all my serranos, and they have turned red. They've ripened so much. And we just use some of these to make a mango habanero chicken that we like. Look how big that guy is. And then again, we're gonna go to the back with these ones. These are my fairy lights, which again are little ones. They can be red or purple. These ones are bigger than the jigsaws. Here, let me show you a comparison. So this one's the jigsaw, and this one's the fairy light. They're a lot chunkier and thicker. About the same amount of heat. They all kind of taste the same to me, which is why I think I'm only going to stick to doing one next year. I haven't decided if I'll be doing the fairy lights, the ties, the jigsaws, or the tiger stripes. That's my 4 choices that I'll be doing again next year. Okay, and then these ones, let me see, let me move you over. These are my tiger stripes. And the difference between those are, these are more square. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, they're kind of rectangular. They're very boxy. And they have a stripe down them. And you can see my zoo pie's just taking over here. The zoo pie's done very, very, very well this year. And you can see, here's a bunch of zoo pies. Zoo pie. Lots and lots of zoo pies. None of my zoo pies are ripe right now because we use them on everything. Zoo pies, they have about the exact same amount of heat as a jalapeno would. So we've been using them as jalapenos because we got pepper gated this year. So we have no jalapenos. And we've been using zoo pies instead, which has worked perfectly. They are delicious. They taste about the same. They got the same heat. Turn you this way. So this is my front bed. This is my bell pepper bed. You can see here I got blonde bells. Got a big blonde bell down here. How big this is. And we're cutting off the little ones too, even though they're not fully ripe, and that's because we are getting hit with frost on Saturday. So we're taking all the peppers that are close to done. This is my Cajun bell plant over here. Lower this a little bit. So this is my Cajun bell plant right here. None of these are red. None of these are good to go. So we're going to have to leave those. They're not even starting to turn. In the middle here, this one is my chocolate bells. We got a few of those ready to go. Look at that pretty brown color. Camera's a little bit dark right now. Let me go into the light so you can see how pretty the color this is. Look at that. Very, very pretty color. I love the brown bells, I think the most. Next to the blonde bells, I like the blondes too. It's just such a unique color to find in peppers. Alright. And my poblano has another pepper right here. That poblano has taken over yet again this year. Poblanos are apparently my best growers. In the front, I got Cubanos over here. Now those don't look too ready. Up here, I got Gypsy Bells, and I got a really, really big one that's turning color. So I'm going to grab that one. So I got a gypsy, which is like an orange. It's turning orange. And I did grab a Cubano because it's so big. Alright. Moving on. Okay, moving on. We're gonna go with this one. We're gonna start with. This is my purple cayenne. You can see I got tons and tons of purple cayennes on it. I mean tons. And some of them at the bottom here, you can see they're even turning red. That means they're getting a little overripe, which for Pepper World means nothing besides they're gonna get a lot spicier. So we're gonna take off a lot of these cayennes. And this is gonna be a majority of my chili, and it'll probably make its way into my cowboy candy as well. You know, it's kind of interesting about these is look at that streak. And they're all like that. Grab some of these red ones here, see what they look like. Look. Isn't that interesting how that color is this time? They all have a very unique little pattern going on. Alright, so I picked 7 of them. Those will all be going in chili. The other ones, I'm gonna pick more probably Saturday after the frost hits. Up here, you can see I got one red pepper. This is a Hungarian hot. So they normally are yellow. I wait for them to turn. I like them a little spicier than most people. So I like to wait for them to fully mature before I take them. And also with all of these, I will be saving seeds. So I need to make sure they're fully mature and packed full of seeds before I start picking them. That way I get the best seeds and best chances for a great growth again next year. If you can see here, I got a monster bell pepper in here. Let's see if I can get it. So I got a real big bell pepper. Now this is supposed to be red bell, but I'm picking it as green because all bell peppers start green. And it just looks ready. I mean, and it feels a little softer. And I don't think it's going to have time to turn red anyways before the weekend. So we're going to go ahead and pick this and we're going to use it as green in the chili. It will have no different flavor. All my bell peppers, I do not start them from seeds. I start my spicy peppers from seeds. And my bell peppers, I start as a plant. I get starter plants. And the reason for that is with peppers, there is cross hibernation. They can pollinate into each other. So for me, I'm fine with having different crosses of spicy peppers. That's perfectly fine for me. But when I want a bell pepper, I want it to be sweet. I do not want any heat in that. So I have to make sure that I start with the actual plant for sweet ones. That way I don't get the heat in my sweet ones. I don't mind having different weird varieties and hybrids of the other ones though. So that's a matter of preference on each person. Up here I got some more little baby bells growing, and unfortunately there's no way they will produce before this year's end. This will pretty much be all I will be getting of peppers for the remainder of the year. besides the very few that are kind of turning but not yet there. Also with the purple cayennes, something else that's different about these plants is look at their stems. Their stems are fully purple. Just a full purple stem. There's no green on the stem. That's just the way that they work. That's how their color pigmentation is. Back here, I'm getting a green bell. This is supposed to be green, and it is green. Green bell for our chili. Let's see what we got down here. Next to my purple cayennes is, my habanero plant. So this is really, really sad for me, and I might wind up pulling him and taking him in and trying to make him grow in the house. So for whatever reason, my habanero plant didn't grow well this year at all. It just stayed tiny. But now you can see it's got a bunch of little buds, tons of flowers. It is trying to now produce for me. And that's an issue because it doesn't have time. Once a pepper starts to form, it takes 60 days to mature, and it has a week. So that's just not going to be a possibility this year, which is quite sad, but that's kind of the reality of the situation. Next to that, I got sweet bananas, and there are several of those ready. Look how big this guy is, super long. Next to him, I got an Anaheim. That's ready. Let's pivot this camera a little bit. Over here, these are all purple bells, and they're tiny, but they're ready. So I'm not sure why they came out so small this year. Sometimes the blondes and the purples are either small for me or they're massive. There's no in between, but I got lots of purple bells on this plant. It's gonna make some great chili. Now, for those of you thinking that my entire chili is just peppers, I promise it's not. I have lots of children, and we use massive turkey roasting pans and almost every pan in our house to make a massive batch of chili. I mean, it's probably at least 7 or 8 gallons of chili every time. Let's see this middle one. As you can see out here, these are all bells. Now these are supposed to be orange bells. No color change right now. We're gonna leave them be. We're gonna try and let them have till frost hits. So a lot of people worry about frost when it comes to these. And really it's nothing you should be worried about. Yes, your plant is going to die when it gets hit with frost. It is going to wilt. The leaves will die, but the pepper will be totally fine. The pepper, once it gets cold, it's gonna want to change color. So, like for these ones, they're still green, but once the cold hits them, they're gonna change almost immediately to a different color. They can stay out in the cold, they can freeze, it doesn't matter. You can then take them out of a bag and you can reheat them. You can chop them up and put them in your freezer for that matter, and they'll stay for a good year. So a lot of people worry about leaving their plants outside with frost. Up here we don't have that option. They stay out and they just finish ripening is what we do in this area for that. And as you can see, I'll actually show you a great example of what I was just talking about. So this is my Roma plant. And look, it's fully dead. Completely dead. But as you can see, it has two beautifully ripe red Romas on it. And they're ready to go. Picking them right now. They're just as juicy. They're great. There's no problems with them. It's just this time of the year. It gets cold and they die. That's what happens. And then what doesn't die ripens. All right. Moving on. And as you can see, this whole tomato plant as well is dying. It starts from the bottom, it works its way up further and further. Okay, so this is the plant I got that said jalapeno. And yes, it's red. Yes, it actually does kind of look like a jalapeno, but it's not. This is another Hungarian hot. Give me 1 second. Let me go collect all of my peppers I picked over here. This basket's over full of all of our beautiful carnival peppers here. I picked another sweet banana. Look at the curl on this guy. Isn't he cute? Now up here, let's move this up a little bit. All of these are Agi white lightnings. You can see it looks like a lightning bolt. They are not ready, unfortunately. Actually, a couple of these feel a little soft. So we're going to go ahead and pick a couple and see. There are at least 20 more on there, so experimenting is okay. Look how crazy that looks. These are called Agi white lightning bolts. Over here, let's move you. Over here, this plant, you can see it's got a lot of stuff hanging down here. Now these are supposed to be hot lemons. They have not turned yellow at all, so we are leaving these alone today. Hopefully they'll turn. And it's also moved into this bed. It is a big plant and very tall. It's much taller than my 2-year-old. And next to that, on the bottom here, these are supposed to be Thai peppers. These would have been my little ones, but it did not produce this year yet. It's got a couple little starters here on the top, but they won't have time to ripen. On to this ridiculous tomato plant. Look, guys. Look. There's tomatoes all the way up in that crack. There's no way in heck I'm reaching that. It's just not happening. I'm only 5'4", and that's 13 foot. I'm not doing that. So when my husband gets home, he will work on that. I'm gonna pick the ones I can on the bottom, and then also look at these beautiful indigo apple tomatoes. They're purple and they're red on the bottom. Look at that color. These are gorgeous. I'm in love with these, and I hope to get these again next year to do these as well. I do not seed save for my tomatoes, unfortunately. Heirlooms are just so finicky that sometimes they crossbreed, sometimes they don't. It's just not something I care to mess with. Sit you there so I can pick these. But I have never seen a tomato this specific color. I'm literally in love with these. And I hate tomatoes. I don't eat them at all. My kids do, but I just love the color. They're just so fun, unique, and nice and plump and juicy. And this one was a double. Look at it. It's supposed to be two. And deformities happen all the time with heirlooms. So this is kind of a normal. You can see the bottom here and the bottom there. It's supposed to be two, turned into one. Now this one's got a little bit longer to go. The bottom is not red yet, still green. And then I'm gonna pick all of these tomatoes, and then I'm gonna head inside and show you our bounty. So for a fun little treat, we're gonna give our pigs some of the pink celery. It's their favorite. Get a good view of it. Piggy piggies. So this one is Athena. And then we also got the white one. Her name's Nyx. And they go crazy for celery. It's their favorite little thing. They'll drag it around and then they'll tuck with it and hide with it. And then to show off all the goodies we harvested over these 2 videos. Tons of corn, tomatoes. This whole thing's full of tomatoes. All different varieties and colors of peppers.